10 secret weapons Communist China is trying to hide. Number 10. Shenyang J-15 Flying Shark. Chinese engineers developed the Shenyang J-15 Flying Shark based on Russian Su-33 Flanker. It is a sleek, carrier-borne multi-role fighter. And with its development came even further proof that China is doing whatever they have to do to become a recognized world power economically and military. The fighter jet was the source of controversy between China and Russia, because Russia said that China violated their intellectual property agreements, and it ultimately led to the end of negotiations between the two countries in terms of military aircraft trade. The aircraft is indeed based on the Russian Su-33, but it has indigenous engineers, weapons, and radar. Compared to the Su-33, the Shark is much faster and has a longer range and has a higher service ceiling. The news with this most recently is that China has stepped up developments of the Shark, adding CATOBAR, an acronym standing for Catapult Assisted Takeoff but Arrested Recovery Operations. In September, photos surfaced of a Shark with what appeared to be a catapult launch bar on its nose wheel. Number 9. AG-600 Seaplane. You may think of World War II when you think of seaplanes, but they are something to be feared if the West gets into it with China. This is because China possesses the largest seaplane on Earth. Nearly 8 decades ago in the Second World War, these planes were instrumental in rescuing downed pilots and giving others aid. A long-range aircraft capable of landing in water would be invaluable in another big war, particularly if an ocean separates the two fighting countries. But for now, China has the upper hand in this respect, because their AG-600 seaplane is monstrous. It is as big as Boeing 737 and can carry 50 people. It can fly 3,100 miles and stay in the air for 12 hours. All of this is quite impressive and intimidating if you're not Chinese, and especially for a plane that can land on water. America may want to take a lesson from the Chinese on this one, just in case. Although we know that with their closely guarded military secrets, as they should be, there is not a whole lot that can be learned from them. Number 8. CV-17 Aircraft Carrier. China's first home-built aircraft carrier is none other than the CV-17 Liaoning, which is nearing completion. Satellite photographs hint that although the major construction is mostly complete, it will likely not be ready to use until at least 2020. The CV-16 was originally a Soviet carrier that wound up with the Chinese Navy. Despite having been purchased with the intention of turning into a casino, it was China's first carrier. But now the CV-17 still only looks to have a ski ramp to assist with takeoffs, indicating that China has not gotten their catapult system down yet. This limits the carrier's ability to detect threats on land and at sea. This carrier will likely be able to carry approximately 48 aircraft and a dozen helicopters. It will display 60,000 to 70,000 tons. The CV-17 may be an improvement from the CV-16, but it will still take a few years of refitting and ship trials before it will be able to set sail. Number 7. New Long-Range Strategic Bomber. The H-6K Long-Range Strategic Bomber is definitely no secret, but China is in the process of developing an even longer range one than this. That is mostly definitely top secret, as no one knows what it is even called, or if it will even be a new model, or crafted after the H-6K, which is nicknamed China's B-52. It flies further and carries more than older models do, and the new one will likely outperform even that, which is a sobering thought. Along with Russia and America, China is the only country that operates long-range bombers, and someday the fuel-efficient heavy bomber may fly far enough to reach America. Supported by tankers, this aircraft could potentially hunt American ships in the Pacific, or fly within striking distance of America's main bomber outpost in Guam, over 3,000 miles from mainland China. Luckily, that also requires precision and planning, and it remains unclear whether China possesses such capabilities so far away yet, although their time will come someday. Number 6. Nuclear Ballistic Missile Submarines. The Chinese People's Liberation Army has one of the world's largest submarine fleets. It has 5 nuclear-powered attack submarines, 4 nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines, and over 50 diesel-electric attack submarines. There is no accurate account of how many vessels they are planning to add to the fleet, but it is a lot, as China's navy is assuming a larger role in the region and intentionally. China's nuclear submarines are some of the most secretive Chinese military platforms. So this year, when there was an actual photo release of their newest and stealthiest nuclear attack submarine, it was pretty big news. Photos of such things are very rare. The new Type 093B Shenyang nuclear attack submarine is quiet, fast, and the first of its kind to fire vertically launched cruise missiles. The United States Defense Department believes that 3 of these were launched in 2015 and may be in service soon, if not already. Number 5. Type 052D Luyang III Guided Missile Destroyer. This weapon belongs to a class of guided missile destroyers deployed by the Chinese People Liberation Army Navy Surface Force and was spotted being built at 2 different Chinese shipyards a few years ago. Now, 11 of 13 planned Type 052, the Luyang III guided missiles, has joined the surface fleet of the Chinese Navy. Of these 11 destroyers, 4 are with the South Sea Fleet patrolling the South China Sea, 4 are with the North Sea Fleet defending Northeast China, and 3 are with the East Sea Fleet, supporting the invasion of Taiwan. 2 more are currently being built to join the South Sea Fleet and the East Sea Fleet. Russian media outlets are hailing the destroyer as a carrier killer due to its YJ-80 long-range supersonic anti-ship missiles that adds to its intelligence capabilities, necessary for access denial operations for the region they are patrolling. It has massive acceleration capabilities as well, potentially making it difficult for the US defense to shoot down the missile. Number 4. The SC-19 anti-satellite missiles. China has a new missile capable of destroying satellites in space, which is one of Beijing's most dangerous weapons as of now. In fact, they were preparing to test their new Dongnan 3 anti-satellite missile, and these preparations were detected at a central China military facility, according to the Pentagon. China closed certain flight zones that would be in the path of the DN3, and when they did so quite recently, intelligence agencies were put on alert for the test. Few details were given except that the tests were likely to happen December 7 or 8, dates which have come and gone with no other news. Sources say the tests are or were likely to launch from the People's Liberation Army satellite launch facility called Jiuquan in Inner Mongolia, and or Korla in western China's city of Xinjiang. Since this is all very current and so little is known, it's even more frightening. Number 3. Cyber warfare capabilities. China may be behind the times and trying to catch up in several aspects, but we shouldn't underestimate them. There is a stereotype in America of Asian people being unusually smart, and that is because only the very smartest of them ever get to study in the West, where we see them. But when you have a population of over 1 billion people, that makes for a lot of the very smartest, whom they undoubtedly utilize for cyber warfare development. In fact, recently we have learned that China has 3 cyber warfare forces to be concerned about, if not more. These are specialized military network warfare forces for carrying out network attack and defense, teams of specialists in civilian organizations to carry out network warfare operations, and external entities that can be mobilized for network warfare operations. Hacking and espionage by the PLA is nothing new, but its implications never get any less scary. Number 2. Nuclear weapons. We know that China possesses several nuclear weapons, as well as the ability to develop chemical and biological warfare. However, it remains uncertain how China's attempt at modernizing their military will shape their capabilities in the future. Their nuclear weapons program began in 1955, and they had a successful nuclear test in 1964. Its first hydrogen bomb test occurred in 1967. They continued to test until 1996. They are careful to guard information surrounding their nuclear arsenal, of course, but it is known that they have about 260 warheads as of 2015. China has the second smallest nuclear arsenal amongst the 5 nuclear weapons states acknowledged by the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, even though they were the first to adopt the no first use policy and officially pledged not to use nuclear weapons against non-nuclear countries. It is still unsettling to know that they are continuously improving their military capabilities, and that includes weapons of mass destruction. Number 1. Education and population. Education, population. It has been called China's top secret weapon, the best of them all. And it is something everyone knows about, education. Well, when you have a staggering population of over 1 billion people, all of whom are fiercely nationalistic and brainwashed by their leader/dictator since birth, it makes sense. Plus, there is a minute detail. There is the minute detail that it is compulsory for men to register for the military upon turning 18. This is why education, or perhaps just sheer numbers, is the #1 threat from China and gets the first spot on the list. It's an obvious thing, so many people do not even consider it. But educating that many nationalistic people is an economic, technological, and even a military weapon. If ever there were a scenario where it came down to numbers, they would win against any country hands down. Except maybe India. They could blow all of America away, have the same number of casualties, and still come out with more than 700 million people, which is more than double our population right now.